Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob, and today we'll be jumping into some malicious compliance. Our first story today comes to us from Frankie Mint. Two government agencies couldn't agree on what's classified. As a contractor, I couldn't fix this, but I needed them to get me out of the middle of it. How? I let it blow up. Let's jump right in. This story does not contain any classified information. The unnamed company's contracting relationship to NRO and CIA is unclassified. This tale does not name individuals, the location, or the corporation I worked for at the time. Leaving those details out makes the story easier to tell, and I'm not looking to embarrass any individuals. This takes place about a decade ago at a large US corporation that contracts with the US intelligence community. I was involved in the setup of a new corporate office in a US city. We built a sensitive compartmented information facility, SCIF, for National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, and later for Central Intelligence Agency, CIA contract work. I'm the computer security officer. We first built an NRO SCIF and got it approved for use. Next, we needed approval for a classified network within the SCIF with encrypted links to a wider network. I was tasked with writing a security plan for the classified network and getting it through the approval process. According to the rules I had been trained on at that time, most of the plan was unclassified, but we needed to identify the SCIF location by address, suite, room numbers, and where classified material was stored inside the SCIF. Per my training, that level of detail made the plan classified. This represented a bootstrapping problem, since I needed to put those details in the plan, but did not yet have an approved classified computer system on which to prepare the plan. I contacted my NRO computer security counterpart, NRO rep, to work out how to do this, and got a surprise. Just prepare it as an unclassified document, but I need to describe the space, floor plans, which rooms will have workstations, where the servers, the safes, the crypto gear will be. That's confidential. No, at NRO we changed those rules. It's unclassified. What about other agencies? Don't know, don't care. So I can do all of this on my unclassified corporate network laptop? Yes, and you can send me the printed document in the first class mail. No need for courier or registered mail. Roger, Wilco. My security coworkers were hesitant, but I plowed in. I prepared the document as described, marked it unclassified, sent it to NRO. After a few details back and forth, we got the approval. NRO came out to install their gear, and we were up and running. Flash forward 1 year. The SCIF wasn't fully utilized. Project management sought and got a small CIA contract. The contracting officers for CIA and NRO came to an agreement to share the SCIF and the use of the network. Background: it's government policy that in these arrangements, the space and network are accepted as is. CIA doesn't demand changes to the space, or the IT doesn't do new approvals. I was contacted by my CIA computer security counterpart, CIA rep. Your network is already approved, but I need a copy of your plan and a copy of the NRO approval letter. Okay, they're unclassified. How shall I send them to you? Send them via the first class mail. Here's the address. Roger, Wilco. Note, I know damn well at this point that a problem is brewing. Before proceeding, I called the NRO rep again. The CIA rep wants the plan. It's unclassified, but I expect him to have a problem with the details in it. Not your problem. The document is unclassified. End of story. Send it. Roger, Wilco. Yeah, I could have sent the docs via courier as though they were classified, but I had my instructions, and I was following instructions. I prepared the docs, mailed them out, waited for the explosion. It took 3 days. Early in the morning, the CIA rep called me on a secure phone. You screwed up. That document is classified and you know it. You included SCIF location and storage specifics in it. Those paragraphs are confidential. Not according to the NRO rep. BS, you've attended our training, you know better, they must not have read it. My NRO rep was very specific. They declassified the data you're talking about, not in our channels. It's an NRO SCIF end system. The docs are unclassified in their channels. Right, sure, give me your NRO rep's name and number, I'll straighten him out. I gave the name and number to him, got off the phone, and immediately called my NRO rep to give him a heads up. I described the previous call. Don't worry, you did the right thing, I'll straighten him out. So I wait. It's hard to concentrate on anything else as this brews. Lunch, mid-afternoon, waiting. Finally, I get a call back from the NRO rep. Okay, I just got off a 2-hour phone call. I have some instructions for you. It won't make sense, but just do this. Print off the unclassified plan, hand mark the copy as follows, mark all the paragraphs with room numbers as confidential, same with the SCIF drawings, mark the overall document confidential, send it to CIA via courier. And the soft copy on my unclassified network laptop, leave it on your laptop. It's unclassified. Can you explain further? I don't want to talk about it. So I did as instructed. Pretty quickly, the CIA sent us a letter approving the processing of their data on the network. A month later, I spoke with the CIA rep, and after some other matters, I brought up the sore subject. This was the end of our conversation. So I sent you that confidential copy of the network security plan, but the classification markup is handwritten. You know the soft copy of that document is still marked unclassified and is right now stored on our corporate network, right? I don't want to talk about it. When I left the company 5 years later, our files still had 2 copies of the exact same document, one confidential, the other unclassified. So it sounds like we had a couple hours of no you, no you, no you, no you, and then everyone covered their own butt, they agreed to disagree, and it was malicious compliance by all parties. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our second story today comes to us from favorite number is 121. Stop working so hard, don't mind if I do. Let's jump right in. This is ongoing, so keeping things vague. The background: I work in a corporate setting on a mixed team. The team is made up of a few different roles, each with their own reporting structure. I am the only person reporting up to my manager on my team. I'm pretty much on my own for the day-to-day. The story: for the first half of last year, I worked for senior manager, that will be his name, on a mixed team. Some people on that team were rock stars, others were not. I've always been a go-getter, perfectionist kind of person, so on that team, I didn't let things slip through the cracks, which meant that sometimes, often, I did things beyond my specific role. Halfway through last year, I moved to a new team and thus reported to Awesome Manager for the second half. Again, I'm the only one for my role on this new team. Cue the new year, and with it, performance reviews. This is the one time outside of promotion that you can get a raise. I've busted my butt on the new team, and everyone I work with has shown appreciation. And this company actually did well last year, so funds are not a problem. Awesome Manager is the one conducting my review, and they asked Senior Manager for feedback since I did report to him for the first half. Awesome Manager says, I'm doing an amazing job, keep it up, here are some suggestions. A senior VP of the company loves showing off something I made. Senior Manager's notes say not to pick up every piece, allow others to fail sometimes so that they can grow and learn and better themselves. Then Awesome Manager informs me that the average raise percentage is 3%. Awesome Manager tells me they recommended I get a 4% raise. They then tell me that all of the senior managers met for the whole organization to coordinate, and coming out of that meeting, I am getting 3%. Awesome Manager cannot get a straight answer why my raise was decreased. So since Senior Manager was part of that meeting where they cut down my raise, I'm following his direction. Take on less. I've cut back to okay employee work ethic and am letting others fail and grow. Since I'm alone in my role for the team and Awesome Manager just got moved elsewhere, I have another new manager. No one can call me out. In the meantime, I'm spending that extra energy prepping my resume for more reasons than just this. So my one question is a raise really a raise when it's only just keeping up with inflation? Most large corporations are just going to exploit you until you're dead and pay you the bare minimum to get the work done. Our next story today comes to us from Prolistari. Work is 8 to 4 only. Let's jump right in. Not me, but my coworker, and I am super proud of them. The past few years, I've been putting up firm boundaries with work after being screwed over a few times, including not being expected to answer emails or do assignments evenings and weekends. It's taken a long time, but I have learned my worth and that my time is valuable. Our company has about 200 employees, but I work most closely with one other person, who I have been encouraging to do the same. We were all put on remote work since last March, and recently, the building opened again with the expectation that we would start back in person. I'll give props to them. They've done a ton of work to get the building cleaned, the air filters updated, enforcing masking, etc. However, HR at first talked a lot about how they would be willing to be flexible, since most schools were still closed and people needed childcare worked out, and that they would grant accommodations with people who had health concerns. Yet that didn't actually play out. In my situation, I had a unique childcare concern that had a simple solution, but they refused to budge. Long story short, I needed to start 30 minutes later and was told no. Several other coworkers have shared similar stories of not getting any flexibility whatsoever. My coworker has several health issues and requested to work an alternate schedule and was told the job is 8 to 4, so that's when you must be there. Understandably, they were upset. We've both been there well over a decade, and it's kind of a slap in the face to dedicate yourself to a place that talks up community and family and then told no after being promised flexibility. Here's the malicious compliance. The company handles missed time by covering in-house. So for instance, if someone has a meeting at a certain time or calls in sick, someone who has a break or lunch covers them and gets paid a little stipend for it. We're talking like $20, not much, but if you take a few extras over a week, it can add up to a nice little bit in your pay. My coworker coordinates all this and does it on Sunday for the upcoming week. Even though they don't work on Sunday, they would say it only takes about an hour to do, and it makes everyone's life so much easier since everyone walks in Monday morning knowing who is covering when, so it's worth it. Can you see where this is going? Upset at the lack of accommodation, my coworker decided to take HR's word for it. They stopped sending the coverage email on the weekend and did it at 8 a.m. sharp on Monday. It was like the end of the world. Everyone was scrambling. Such a little thing to make life convenient, but they refused now to do anything outside of work hours. They told me that the following weekend, managers were asking for it throughout Saturday and Sunday, but they ignored the emails. On Monday, they sent it at 8 a.m. sharp again. By the afternoon, the head boss had asked them to please resume doing it on the weekend, and they are now getting the extra hour paid by the company. I loved it. Take care of your employees, and they take care of you. Give a little, get a little. I would make sure that whoever's putting that together looks into the labor laws for their particular country. Up here in mine, there's a 3-hour minimum when you work in a day. So if they want you to do 1 hour of work on a Sunday, you're gonna get paid for 3 hours. Definitely look into that. Our last story today comes to us from fmintar1. You want proof that I'm actually doing my business? If you say so, let's jump right in. This malicious compliance has been brought to you by my trip from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles, California. Background: I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and most of the time it's more convenient for me to do my business on the highway shoulder. I don't have to drive around and around just to park to use the restroom, just a quick 30-second emergency stop, do my business, either on the side of the road or empty bottles that I'm saving up. Gotta do what you gotta do when you're on the road, then off driving again. I'm sure I'm not the only over-the-road truck driver who has done these. It's very common. Side note, according to FMCSA, by law, we have to carry logbooks to calculate our driving and on-duty time. This is relevant to the story. On to the story. This happened just a few hours ago, somewhere in I-40 westbound in New Mexico. I was suddenly in need to relieve myself badly, so as usual, I pulled over to a clean, wide highway shoulder. Then, I put my logbook to off-duty. Note, this isn't my first time today doing my business. I have a habit of being very meticulous with my driving time, which means when I'm not doing anything, even for 30 seconds, I put my time in off-duty. I tried to save as much driving time as possible. Those multiple 30 seconds can add up to a lot to avoid doing 34 hours reset too soon. I looked at the passenger side window and see multiple cars passing by. Turns out there's a road where cars drive by on the side of the highway. Doing my business on the highway shoulder? Nope. Instead, I did the alternate route. Do it in a bottle, seal it, and stow it for trash later. Just as I finished doing my business, I heard a knock on my passenger door. Very weird, because this is at the highway shoulder, where no one should randomly be walking around. I stow away the bottle and go look who it is, and it's a cop. I was thinking, crap, this isn't happening. I switched my logbook to on-duty inspection and go answer the cop. Before I could say anything, the cop asked me to see my logbook. It's part of their job to check whether we complied to the rules or not. so I showed it to him. The graph looks like a heart monitor, as I was relieving myself probably 4 or 5 times per day. Tiny bladder problem. The cop questioned why I was off duty for 30 seconds to 1 minute every 2 to 3 hours almost every day. Electronic logbook can be backtracked up to 14 days. I explained to him that I have to relieve myself every 2 to 3 hours, give or take. The cop didn't believe me and assumed that my truck had a problem, and that's why I had to stop every 2 to 3 hours. I repeated myself about my bladder issue, but the cop still didn't believe me. Instead, he said, "Unless you have proof that you're actually relieving yourself, I'm afraid I have to give you a ticket for false usage of logbook." Cue malicious compliance. I told the cop to wait a moment and went back inside my cabin. I grabbed every single bottle of urine that I'd been collecting today and the previous day. I hadn't had the chance to throw it away. Put it in a plastic bag, and for extra measure, grabbed the newest one out of the plastic bag. It was still warm. I showed the whole bag to the cop, plus the warm bottle, told him it's the newest one I just did a few seconds ago, and asked if he would like to hold it for further inspection. The cop had the mixed look of disgust and horror. He was literally gagging. So I put the evidence back inside my truck so he can recover. Then the cop says, "I was expecting doctor's note or something like that. What you showed me was disgusting. But you asked for proof that I was, in fact, relieving myself." I was holding back my laughter so hard that my cheeks started to hurt. Then he gave me back my logbook and told me to have a good day, then drives off. Have a good day indeed. I took an extra 1 minute on the shoulder to laugh until I'm satisfied, then I'm off to drive again. I think I've mentioned on the channel before that I've had a few different driving jobs in my time, and I learned one thing. If you're going to pee into a bottle, make sure it has a wide opening at the top, because the ones with the small opening are really hard to aim into. And to the furniture leasing company I used to work for, I hope your van still smells like piss. Thank you to all 4 OPs for posting their stories in the Malicious Compliance subreddit. They are linked in the description down below. Please go check them out. Check out one of these other videos, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories.